thing we have to keep into consideration is, according to the American Library Association, there is a critical shortage of library candidates that are, masters in library science that are available now for hiring. There are a huge number that are retiring, and not enough young ones coming up. So even though the job market, you would think, would hold down the price we would have to offer, the competition, I mean, the number of applicants that we were expecting, we haven't gotten. And one other thing I heard that I think is important is, I've heard from one professional source, and Tommy's heard from another one, that the friction and the bad press that New Hartford has gotten in the last couple of years they have been told personally by some people that would have been good candidates that they will not apply because of that. They want no part of the battles.
I don't blame them.
They want to run a good library, and they want a supportive board and a supportive town. And
okay, so thank you very much for the report. It sounds at this time that we certainly, hopefully, don't have all the applications that we're going to get, and there's a lot that has to be done. I would expect in the next board meeting that there'll be more applications in, and the process will be a little bit further along. But at this point in time, I would say we've got our work cut out for us. This is not going to be an easy slot to fill. Yes, Don?
Linda, I would suggest that the ad hoc committee establish a range, a minimum range.
We talked about doing that.
You shouldn't offer, in my opinion, you shouldn't offer a specific number.
Yeah.
There should be a range. And that range is predicated upon many factors, including their experience, right?
I think if it turns out that we're not getting that, and either it's the bad press or maybe it's the fact that we haven't put a range in there, we ought to consider putting a range in, so that they know at least.
can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
When all these applications are looked at for their first assessment, if the committee feels there isn't enough there, can we have a special meeting, or can we have permission to extend the search for another 30 days?
I would say at this point, I would be willing to entertain a motion to leave it in the discretion of the committee whether or not to extend for 30 days. I would absolutely say that you could do that. I would think that leaving the process open longer will just encourage more applicants. It's certainly not going to detract from anybody applying. And as I said, we're not planning to fill that until October. Our budget doesn't allow that, so I don't see a problem.
I think the biggest mistake we can make is to feel like we're under the gun. We
close
have
it
to
off too
hire
soon.
somebody and hire the wrong person.
I don't see a downside in extending it. What are some other thoughts?
My only concern is that those making the decision to extend based on what criteria, once again, I'll just go back to say that I would like to see the resumes, because I'm not necessarily sure that it would be wise to extend it. Let's see what we have, and like Mr. DeRosa said, that with that range, I think it's a good idea.
Hang on one second. What is the deadline now?
March 31st.
Well, I would
March
say,
30th.
guys, let's vote right now to extend it. We don't have enough resumes.
Well, how many resumes? We have 9.
We have 9, but a cursory look, we expected to get significantly more than that.
Well, the thing is, Linda, who makes the decision as to whether they're good or bad? Let's run them through civil service and let them see what they...
No, they don't want that.
No.
They do not want to look at that material. All they want is the application. They've told us we have to decide who's qualified.
Well, then,
So
I understand you're trying to do it by committee, but by the same token, and I agree with, the time, I didn't realize it was March 31st, but I would like to have an opportunity to review these.
Okay, we'll get, that's another subject. Right now, we're talking about extending it for 30 days. Do I hear a motion to extend the search for 30 days?
I just want to point out that I think the amount of the salary that we forecasted in the budget was $60,000, but it was become effective October 1.
Yes, that's what I said.
Any employment of a library director prior to October 1 is going to have some effect on the budget.
Right, I understand that. Okay, right now, do I hear a motion? We'll have a discussion after there. Do I hear a motion for the 30 days?
I'll move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion? Now let's discuss it.
The minimum qualifications, are these, for example, I don't understand the mention, 2 years of post-degree library experience, is that
That's civil service.
that's civil service? Okay.
If you look at the civil service one, we've
I
taken the
think
language
this is
from
a
them.
civil service tax.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I mean, my.
So there's not a lot of discretion we have.
Yeah, not a lot of
There's two
discretion, you know.
sources
That's the
we have. The
problem.
civil service has one criteria that we have to meet, and the New York State Education Department of Libraries has another criteria.
Sure.
That is really
Because what
both
we're-
of them condensed,
I
and we
mean, what we're
don't,
really looking for is somebody young, you know, trying to get started out in
We
their
can't
careers.
discriminate.
Can't
That's-
discriminate.
No, I'm just
I
saying,
know.
you know what I'm saying, I understand that,
we
but.
want somebody that's,
But, I mean, somebody that's making 100 and some odd thousand
isn't
now is
gonna
not gonna
come.
be interested.
No.
You know, so we're
That's
looking at
true.
somebody starting out, you know.
I think I'd like to point out, since I keep telling you and nobody's looking at it, second page of the civil service description,
Which one's that?
the
That's,
civil services, it's the last page of that little packet of 4 sheets of paper.
Maybe this,
And it tells you above, it gives you the minimum qualifications. Last page of our posting. Pardon me, I don't mean to be yelling. It says minimum qualifications. And then below that, it gives you
There it is.
a definition of administrative experience is defined to mean blah, blah, blah. So I mean, it's not as if we can say, well, it's great that you ran a nursery school. I mean, that's not what is defined as being an administrative experience if you don't have a number of people that you're dealing with.
Is there another library classification title that is less restrictive?
No, not
no,
the library
no,
director.
this is the basic.
This is the basic
Then we
one.
move to this one, which is what,
The library director one, is there any other position that's qualified to run a library other than the title of library
not
director?
New Hartford, not with our population,
Not what I read, because
and not with the civil
we have a
service for us.
population of more than 7,500, and so we're required to have a paid library director.
Director.
Director, and they have requirements for their education.
that's where the
and
MLS
degrees and
is.
Right,
everything.
right,
So
and that's where we're at. I mean, if there's something less than library director,
then, okay.
Not from my
All right,
reading.
any further discussion on the
These
30-day
are just
extension?
Professional rules.
right?
Okay, can I have a vote on the 30-day extension? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Carried unanimously. Hallelujah.